All right, welcome back. You are watching To The Point. The conversation tonight is love beyond laws. And before we went on that very short break, we were just trying to get to understand how is it like finding love after the loss of a partner. And Margaret, just to start with you, how has your perspective of love and relationships changed after losing your spouse?
I think nothing much has changed. My husband was very intentional about marriage. He was a present father. He valued family, and he believed in true love. So I think even after his passing on, I still believe that love is a good thing. Marriage is good. So if given an opportunity, then and you involve God, then you can always try the opportunity. But of course, you need to consider the pros and cons. Of course, it cannot be very easy. When you have children, these are people you have to bring on board. So if you put your priorities right, I think you can always try. So nothing much has changed.
Shatta, has your perspective changed in any way, either negatively or positively?
On marriage?
Yes, marriage, love, relationships.
Okay. I don't think there's anything that has changed. I still believe marriage is a beautiful thing. But before you see, what guides you in life is your past experience. What you've seen, what you've heard, what you've done, shapes you to the person you are, you know? For my case, I have what has informed my decision, which looks very unrealistic, is that I have seen instances where men have remarried. First of all, I grew up in a polygamous family, you know, so I have seen what polygamy looks like, whether the mother is there or not, but I've seen it, you know. I have seen instances where men have remarried, and I've seen the kind of life children have gone through, and it's not easy for children to speak up when maybe an injustice is being done upon them, because they think this is daddy's sweetheart, okay? What are we going to tell him? Will he listen to us? You know, and again, you don't know what daddy speaks with his new wife, you know, so children undergo a lot and don't feel like you are the safe space, because probably the person that is making them go through this is the person that they believe you're in the same team with, because children tend to grow up with groups, you know, so they can group themselves. They say, see, we are team mom, and daddy is team the new wife. You know, so children might be put through a lot, but they will not have the courage to tell you. And when they will tell you in a bad way, because now they'll start revolting against you. Things I've seen happening, and they revolt against the dad. The dad does not know why, because he thinks I have been with you guys. I brought in this new mom to help me bring you up. You know, say there's a girl in the picture. She needs this mom to talk to. When issues that come up, probably the dad won't understand better. But it has not always gone that smooth. You know, there are people that have good stories of remarrying and the children accepting the new wife and living forever, happily ever after, you know. But as for me, I do not have a case where I can look up and say, yo, I have seen this guy remarry and it's gone well.
Yeah.
Most of the cases I've seen have gone on the negative. You know, like the children revolt, or the wife comes and she's not kind to the children. And so I avoid my options, and I think this is something I want to put my children through, you know. And clearly, I tell myself no. Sindio, again, I'm very young, but when both of them get to the age of 18, I will still not be at the age of 40. You know, so I'll still be a young man. So when they are grown and they can fight for themselves, if someone is putting them through something and say, yo, we don't do that here, you know, like they are grown-ups, then now maybe then I will be open. And as Dr. has said, time is the master healer. Maybe one day my perspective of this will change. But as it is right now, that is the stand that I have decided. It is these children first. Once they are grown-ups, when they are gone to their homes, then maybe I'd say, okay, now I am lonely, you know, I'll still be a young man.
All right, Shatta, is this a conversation that maybe you have sat down with your kids and had with them about maybe your perspective of giving them a new mom or just being in a relationship? Have you sat them down and talked things through with them?
No, I have not had this conversation with them because I do not want to plant that in their heads. because I don't know how they'll digest it. I observe. I see how they behave. I see how protective they are of their mother's belongings and personal stuff. For example, her phone got lost in the house. I saw how it depressed them. There is a mug that has a picture of her. I see how they protect that mug. They do not want anyone near that mug, you know. Her clothes. So from those things, I do not think it's the right time to bring such a conversation to them, because as I am healing, they're also healing from losing their mom, you know. So they actually, I think last week we were having this conversation. We do have these conversations. When they bring their mother up, I do not believe in blocking the conversation, because I want them to heal through it. Don't just block it, because then when they grow up one day, they'll have childhood trauma that I did not allow them to heal or walk through it. You know, so they brought up the conversation about their mom, and I was telling them, you know, you guys, you think your mother was my mom. Do you know your mother was my sweetheart? You know, and we have the conversation. They know, yes, we know. Okay, but I've not told them or brought about the conversation of bringing a new mom in the picture.
Dr. When is the right time to have this conversation? His first one is 13 years old. So when is the right time to have this kind of conversation with maybe the kids?
Every other time is the right time, because it depends on an individual. You can hear his decision is informed by other things he has noticed in his life. He has seen this happening. He would not want to walk the journey that way. So it is about oneself. When you say, like now, I've got grown children. My children are grown, they are adults. They are not adults, they are parents. And as we talk, if I mean to have a relationship today, I will still think about them. Yes, I might be alone at home, but I still remain their mother. I still remain the steering wheel in that home. So anything they want, as adult as they are, they know that is not there for consultation. They come to me. So there is always the fear. What if mama engages in another person, and it's like she switches her attention to this other? Shall we be getting her? It is not even about the children. They are also the relatives. You know, for us women, we belong to a clan. Remember that. So there is also thinking, what will my mother-in-law think when she hears, or my father-in-law, my brothers-in-law are also there. They want to hear their brother's home is well done. The woman is still there, a very holy woman, going to church and coming back, is in the guild and see the period everywhere else. That is what they would want to hear. So the right time is when you manage and design the destiny of where you want to go. If I am strong enough at 1 year and I do my calculations and see nothing is going wrong, I'll make a decision pertaining to that. But it is always good to be very careful, because as the gentleman here says, there is always that natural urge. Everybody wants to be loved and to love. So, and there are people around you. You can make a very uninformed decision, then you get yourself there later trying to move away when it is just too late. When you have disconnected with your children. But the best time is when you know you have cleared the way, you have come back and done it again, and even again, in that you have no doubts. There will not be any guilt, because what comes again mostly is thinking, am I replacing my former spouse? Am I replacing this gentleman? Am I being unfaithful to him? Those things come along. You know the answers very well, but they keep coming. The moment you feel like you have an answer for those questions, it is the right time. But for younger persons, I would say it is always good to think and think again. Because like now, if I'm 60 and they are like 30, you can imagine if I spoil my life at this, I might be having a very short life to live here. But if they spoil their life at 30, enter into a bad relationship, get cheated by whatever circumstances around their life, that one can be very dangerous, because whatever they'll destroy, it is about a longer life. It's equally not very well with older persons, because the energy now to fight on again with a gone sour thing is still very minimal.
All right, very insightful remarks from Dr. right there. Time is running out, but I want to give Margaret and Shatterboy a chance to give us their closing remarks as we close, of course. Margaret, what has been your source of comfort during your grieving period?
I think my greatest source of comfort is my children. Anytime I look at them, and I realize that I'm the only surviving parent, then I get comforted in the fact that I have to do the very best. I don't have to lose myself, because if I do that, then my children will have lost. I also get my comfort from my father-in-law. He's very supportive. My brother-in-law, they are supportive. I have very supportive friends. I have supportive parents, my mom. So these people have really comforted me, and they have really made the grief journey not so tough to walk on. Yeah.
Shatta, tell us, what is your source of comfort?
Life. Life as it is. As I've told you, you have a way of looking at life. You might decide to be a victim or to live life, you know. And if you decide to take the positive route of life, where you learn through it, and you tell yourself that nothing is victimizing you, makes it livable, you know. My children have been a strength, especially at night when I go to tuck them in, and you find this one sleeping like their mother. Maybe the duvet is down there. You have to bring it back, you know. You look at them at night, then you get to repeat the conversations in your head, you know, like you have decisions to make that the mother would make. You ask them, hey, so what is it that you think you've been missing? That mommy used to buy us clothes every day. You buy clothes once a month, you know. Conversations, keeping her alive has been a source of comfort. And I'd want to also talk to young men that probably have gone through this, you know, because I cannot say that I'm alone. You know, there's over 3 million of us out here, of widows and widowers. But what happens with young men when they go through this, or even young ladies as well, is that you spiral. You start substituting that with something else, and mostly it's drugs. You know, you find yourself, you've gone into alcohol, you lose yourself, you forget now there are children here. What I tell you is, if you're feeling whatever you're feeling, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Number one, do not fight what you're feeling. It's grief, and you're grieving. But it is also important to find yourself in positive ways to ground yourself. Because if you don't ground yourself, you will spiral. You know, you end up having double tragedy for these kids that have been left with you. Because if they lose their mom, they've lost you as a dad, because now you've gone to alcoholism, or now you're spiraling with multiple partners, because you're trying to fill the void that has been left. Accept, number one, that this has happened. Find yourself to ground yourself positively and live life.
All right, thank you so much. So much to talk about this topic. Of course, finding love beyond loss. Thank you for gracing the show tonight, Dr. Margaret and Shatterboy. Looking forward to having this conversation maybe on this side, just to get to understand more about how you are coping with this. Of course, thank you so much for making time to join us tonight. We close at this point. My name is Anne Odida. Our sign language interpreter tonight was Catherine Simaloy. Do have yourself a good night, and see you next time, inshallah.